Well, everybody, I think I'm going live. Hope I'm going live. Can't really tell what's going on here because my telephone is still a new machine to me. And I don't really know what it's capable of doing. Okay, I see what it's doing now. It is showing me sideways. Well, that's a damn pain in the ass. This. Oh boy, you guys are so lucky you get to see me do this live. Here I am facing the exact same problem I faced last week, in which I'm trying to make my phone be a good broadcast tool. It's a new phone, it's a new science, it's a new day, it's a new me, it's a new wow, it's a new now, it's a new damn headache is what it is. And you guys get to experience it with me live here on Tent Talks Tunes. Woohoo! Thank you, Kit E. Cat, for letting me know that I am indeed live, because I wasn't sure. I'm still not 100% sure. I don't know really what's going on here. I want to thank you guys for suffering through this with me. I really do appreciate it. You guys have a lot of patience. And patience is actually a topic that's going to come up tonight on Tent Talks Tunes, as I address issues such as mind-blowing gigs that I've attended in my life, and as we check the various bulletin boards and mail boxes and calendars and stuff. Excuse me. My good pal Mike Lesser, out in the wonderful country of Vancouver, yes, I did say country, wants to know where's all the sign swag. Well, the sign swag is here, but because of this new stupid damn phone of mine, I can't seem to turn it sideways and get the panoramic vista of the wonderful things that are behind me. You can only see but the merest sliver. So we're going to cope with that. We're going to cope. I'm a good coper, if nothing else. Sean Fairweather, Trash American Style alum Sean Fairweather. He knows. He's seen me in person. He's seen me cope. He's seen me cope with a lot of stuff from his vantage point on the stool behind the counter. Welcome aboard, Sean Fairweather. Let's see who else is here. Oh, Sean says he's only here for the commercials. Don't you worry. I got some commercials for you in a minute. Ray from Tucson, Arizona. Mr. James Pogo from the Arm Delight Rifles has noticed, yes, new glasses. As long as they cost $1 each, baby, you're going to see a lot of new glass action. As long as my eyeballs keep failing, you're going to see a lot of eyeglass action. These are now 1.75 strength. Yes, up from 1. Or is that down from 1? I don't know. I'm moving on up. I'm sinking on down. But there they are. Therefore, I can see you a little more clearly. I've got my computer on in front of me, so I can lean forward here and see that, yes, Adam Wolf is here, the host and star of KD After Dark on the YouTube. You know, the YouTube, if you're familiar with the YouTube. I invite you to go on over there and check out KD After Dark. It's single-handedly keeping the spirit of morning television alive. Forget the Today Show, man. The Today Show is strictly yesterday. Go see KD After Dark. That's where the action is. Personally, I catch it on reruns because I make it a real policy of mine never to wake up before at least noon. You know? Some people want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I like to work like a dog all night and then sleep for the first part of the day. That's what makes me healthy, wise. Can't vouch for wealthy per se, but, you know, healthy and wise, that's all right. That's all right. Okay, let's do a couple of things here. Let's start checking what we got to check. The mail is scattered all over the place when I was adjusting my camera, so that puts a little bit of a crimp in the action. While I'm digging up the mail, like literally, I'm going to invite you to check out my address, Malcolm Tent, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. That's P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. That's where I'm at, and that's what all this fuss is about. So it's actually been a pretty good mail week, especially considering that I have been on the road for the last almost 10 days. There has been a lot of rock and roll business to take care of in my home away from home, the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was tending to a lot of it. Just to give you a brief rundown of what is happening and what I was doing while I was in Charlotte, the band that I strum the Thunder Lumber for, the Thunder Lumber, aka the bass guitar, aka the 4 strings of musical destruction, the almighty anti-scene. We have a lot of stuff going on. So while I was in Charlotte, I took a trip up north a little bit to the town of Granite Falls, North Carolina, to record the bass parts, to finish the bass parts for our brand new upcoming album, which is entitled Great Disasters. I'd been down there a couple of months ago, laid down most of the bass parts, laid down some backing vocals, but when I got back home, I realized that there were 2 little tiny bass bits that I did not lay down properly. One of them consisted of 1 note, one of them consisted of 2 notes. Now, if any of you people out there are noisemakers, or musicians, if you will, I'll say noisemaker for sure. Musician, that's up to you. But if any of you people out there play an instrument, you know what it's like, perhaps. If you don't play the song exactly the way you hear it and the way you want it to be done, it's going to gnaw at you. It is going to gnaw at you. And that is exactly what was happening in my termite-infested brain. It was gnawing at me. 1 note in one song and 2 notes in another song. I didn't play them the way I wanted to play them. So that was really, really bugging me. And Ms. Gelman, who is watching us live from Tucson, Arizona, says that she has a newfound affection all over again for the almighty anti-scene. Thank you, Ms. Gelman. I appreciate that. Also, according to Ms. Gelman, anti-scene sounds really good when you're under the influence of nitrous oxide. Very interesting factoid. Of course, that's because she was having dental work done, all right? We're not counting any aspersions on people's characters. She was getting legitimate dental work done in a dentist chair, and she dialed up the anti-scene album, Here to Ruin Your Groove, which is my personal favorite anti-scene album. And, yes, Ms. Gelman has given testimony that it sounded damn good while high on nitrous. So I'll take that as an extreme compliment. I'm not on that album. That predates my involvement in the band. But, you know, if it was true then, it's true now. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for the nitrous is good for the oxygen. So I'm very happy to be a part of that equation. So anyway, I hopped in my sled and I trundled down to North Carolina, 810 miles, primarily to correct 3 notes of bass guitar. And I went to the studio with anti-scene drummer, 5-star general, and producer, Sir Barry Hannibal. And we sat down and we re-recorded those 1, 2, 3 notes. And now they sound great. To me now, those songs are playfict. They're playfict sounding songs. Playfict! Well, Joey Corman, who's written to say, hey, anti-scene and they hate us. Does my legendary run ever slow down? Not if I can help it, Joey. I hate to be bored. I like to be busy. I would like to mention, not only besides They Hate Us and Anti-Scene, one of my project bands, the Bloody Apostles, which features alum from the Murder Junkies and Profanatica. We have a brand new 7-inch single in the works. It's going to come out on the Hell's Headbangers label. 6 songs of extremely fast, extremely heavy, extremely pissed off punk effing rock. I'm very excited to hear that. We finished recording that late last year, and we're waiting for the test pressings right now. And I think that the Bloody Apostles record is going to sink a few ships. I am really, really stoked about it. And also, this is the year 2022, which is the 20th anniversary of Ultra Bunny, my fabulous all-improv space rock band. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be doing for the 20th anniversary. Hopefully some shows. Fingers crossed. Because we haven't done anything Ultra Bunny in about 3 years. So, yeah, we got that. We got my solo acoustic punk rock, which is kind of on the back burner right now. But if someone made me a gig I couldn't refuse, I'd play it. Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Let's talk about keeping me on the stage somewhere and in the recording studio. I can't turn into a juvenile delinquent at this stage of the game. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. The public safety rests on your shoulders. And keeping me rocking and rolling and in the studio and on the stage and out of trouble. Trouble, baby. Let's take a sip of Danbury Tap to staying out of trouble. Mazel tov. All right, so anyway, I was in North Carolina. And, well, I guess we'll start with some of the things I picked up when I was in North Carolina, because there was a lot of really cool in-person acquisition going on. Because besides recording those 3 notes for the new Anti-Scene album, the full band got together for a day in the studio and recorded demos for the record coming out after Great Disasters, which is going to be called... Now, I don't know if I'm at liberty to reveal the name of it yet. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to reveal the name of it. But I am at liberty to reveal that it's a collaborative effort between Anti-Scene, in full, the immortal Tesco V of the Meatmen, and please forgive me for not remembering the name of the guitar player of the Pagans, the legendary Midwestern punk rock band from the 70s. I'm sure you people on the internet research team know who I'm talking about. You can look him up. Please post the name if you will. I'm very embarrassed at not remembering the dude's name. But in spite of that, I am dead chuffed. That's like a Midwest meets the Mid-South musical axis of evil right there, baby. The Meatmen, the Pagans, and Anti-Scene? Forget it. So we got the demos for that one done. Very exciting. Did a great photo shoot with our good friend Jason Griscom, who's got a real super fine camera. And that was a learning experience in its own right, too, you know, because in this day of everybody having a camera, sort of like the one that I'm shaking my fist at right now because I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted it to work, it's really easy to take a picture with your camera and look at it and say, wow, that looks really good, you know, and it does look good. You know, the cameras they have in these things are very high quality. So you look at the camera and the photo you just took and you're very pleased with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, gang, it's like the difference between butter beans and floor tile. When you look at a photo taken by somebody with a real camera who really knows how to wield it, you thought you were eating a big bowl of butter beans, but no, instead you had a big bowl of floor tile chips. It's a whole different thing. So Jason Griscom got some hot shots of Anti-Scene, posing, strutting, styling, and profiling, and looking good, baby. If you go to the Anti-Scene Facebook page, you will see at least one of those photos posted. Also, while I was there, which led to, I swear I'm getting to the punchline, kids. I really am. While I was there, I was recording with a guy named Ian Pasquini violin tracks. Yes, the fiddle. The violoncello, if you will. That is a project that I'm not willing to give the details about yet, but let's just say it's going to be a solo effort, not by me, but by somebody else. And the vision that I had for this song is lots of violin and pedal steel guitar. And Ms. Kit E. Cat just posted an unsolicited testimonial, which I will agree Ian Pasquini plays beautifully. I was sitting there in the dude's home studio, just me and him and his violin and the recorder, and he's laying down the parts, and I got emotional because it's just the sound of real strings. There's nothing better. You know, at least at that very moment in time, the sound of real strings being played in a room with the resonance, the timbre, the vibrato, the legato. It was fantastic. And we laid down 12 tracks of violin. I got a veritable goddamn orchestra going there. And it's going to sound great. So when I go back down at the end of March, I hope to get some pedal steel tracks laid over this thing. And then maybe I'll be a little more forthcoming with some of the details. Because I'm very excited about it. But anyway, it seems that Mr. Ian Pasquini has a solo project called Pleasure House. And any of your children, if you children of the 70s have good memories, you'll recognize where this logo comes from and where this design and color scheme comes from. You know, if I throw the watchword at you, alive with pleasure, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is his band Pleasure House, and I haven't heard it yet, but I'm really stoked to hear it. And I'm also really stoked to finally get a chance to play it on the radio. And I know I've been teasing that for a while. I keep waiting for the word to come down from on high that WNHU in West Haven is going to be doing live radio again. Hasn't happened yet, but I got to tell you folks, I've got a practical Library of Congress full of music just waiting to play live on the radio from local bands who you might not know, such as Pleasure House, and bands who I've discovered since I was on the radio last about 3 years ago. Larry Mann guessed it. Alive with Pleasure. Newports, baby, Newports. You know a band I discovered recently that I did not know who was effing GD awesome? A 1970s rock band who I never paid any attention to at all because, you know, they're one of those bands who you see records all over the place of, and usually in the cheap bin. And they got a lot of albums, and they don't sell for much money. And they're just everywhere. Never even occurred to me to listen to this band until I was going through my inventory. And as Larry Mann will attest, I do sell used records. I was organizing my inventory, and I realized that I had probably half a dozen albums by Uriah Heep. Uriah Heep. And I says to myself, self, you got all these Uriah Heep records. Why don't you see what they're made of? So I did. I played me a Uriah Heep record. The first one in the pile was called Demons and Wizards. My friends, my fans, I was shocked and awed by how good that album was. Uriah Heep was great. There's not a bad song on that record. So I just played them one after another. I played The Magician's Birthday. I played Look at Yourself. I played Wonderworld. Dude, they kick ass. Uriah Heep is total proto-metal. I mean, I'm sure there's some Uriah Heep somewhere in the model for Spinal Tap. Gotta be. Adam Wolf, easy living, I've been forgiven. That song kicks butt. Distorted Hammond organ. God damn. Mike Lesser says that Uriah Heep is a guilty pleasure. I feel no guilt, sir. I feel no guilt. I like what I like. No apologies. I was cranking Uriah Heep this morning, baby. And I am not a compensated endorser. I get nothing from this except the pleasure in my own house of listening to Uriah Heep. So goddamn, Uriah Heep. That's one of my new missions now, is to turn the youngins onto Uriah Heep, because they need it. We all need some Heep. Let's see. So the violin tracks and artifacts. Here's an artifact for you. According to Joey Corman, says, believe it or not, King Diamond sung the praises of Uriah Heep to him for over 45 minutes. I believe it. I totally believe it. Uriah Heep really did plow the field for what was to come in terms of heavy metal. I totally believe it. Let's see. Here's some cool artifacts I picked up when I was in North Carolina. At the Anti-Scene demo session for the Tesco V record, I kept an artifact I created myself. This is I'm going to cover the name of the song. This is what we call extremely cheap written music. This is a chord progression for a song that we were learning, the title of which is underneath my finger. And this song was a pain in the butt to learn and to play to our satisfaction. Still not sure we nailed it. This song, in fact, probably won't end up on the album, but if you want to play your own version of it using these notes, you're welcome to. Copy them down, transcribe it to whatever instrument you play, and send me an MP3 or preferably a WAV file. I would love to listen to it. There's the notes. Go to it. Also went to a show in the great Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Saw some great bands. Headlining was the FUs. And all you old hardcore kids will certainly appreciate the pun on that name. The FUs stopped talking in the Van Huskins at Tommy's Pub. And got this flyer. I save all the flyers. And I save all the set lists for every show I go to. This is the genuine Van Huskins set list. Handwritten with a marker. That's the way to do it in my book. And a real honest-to-God black and white flyer. Love it. Stop Talking, good friends of ours. Van Huskins, good friends of ours. And those bands kick some serious booty. I also picked up a Van Huskins single while I was down there. And it's a generation gap thing, you know? Like, I've been informed that I'm a part of Generation X. I never really knew that, but I'm a Generation Xer. And I've been consorting with people who are millennials and Generation A-minusers and Generation Qs. I can't even keep track of them all. But some of the younger generation thought that the word single was really funny. They thought that the dude from Van Huskins was making some kind of joke pun, but no, single. It's real. It's a real thing. You Generation Xers and baby boomers, and maybe even millennials know what a single is. So, yes. The unimpeachable president himself, Jeff Clayton, asks, aren't we the same age? I believe, Mr. Jeff Clayton, that you are 1 year older than I am, which technically makes you a baby boomer. A baby boomer. We're from different generations, JC. Different generations. And I'm only quoting what the 14-year-old daughter of Sir Barry Hannibal told me. We had a very long conversations about the various generations. According to Anna Hannibal, she's not 14 anymore. I don't even know how old she is. She's a teenager, okay? According to a teenager, yes, Jeff Clayton is a baby boomer, and supposedly I'm a baby boomer as well, but I'm like right there on the cusp. So I kind of lean towards Gen X, and I don't like Billy Idol either. What else did I grab while I was down there? Oh, look at this. See, if my GD phone was behaving itself, y'all would have the panoramic view, which would include this piece of art. Look at this. This is a painting. I showed you guys a tremendous black velvet painting when I was on Tent Talks Tunes last. Now I'm showing you a genuine hand-painted canvas by the lovely and talented Chrissy Walker, who gave this to me in person, and which I am in love with. I'm not talking just narcissism either. This is a great painting, and it just happens to be of me. Look at that. Awesome. Took a little bit of effort, but I got her to sign it, too. So thank you, Chrissy, so very much. This is going to be hung proudly in my home. Probably going to make it a profile picture, too. Because that's what we do, you know. Even we, the Gen Xers, know how to make a profile picture. So thank you, Chrissy. Wonderful. Wonderful stuff. So that's what I got in person. What else what did we get in the mail? Well, we got in the mail here from my good friend Janice down in West Haven. A Valentine's Day card. Yay! Thank you, Janice. Woo! And Chrissy says, in her own words, welcome. She's there right now. Salute to the artist, everybody. I want everybody to give a big shout out to Chrissy and her fantastic artistic skills. Right on. Give her some secret hand signs. hearts and flowers and stuff. Yeah, there they go. For the artists. Got another Valentine's Day card. It's from my pal Crystal in North Carolina. Thank you for the card. And thank you also for the order that came in with the card. Yes, a mail order. Thank you for ordering from me the brand new Mad Brother Ward 7-inch single entitled Ugly Life, which in Spanish is Vida Fea. Living la vida fea, baby. Mad Brother Ward, Ugly Life, 7-inch single. It's got a front. It's got a back. It's got some cryptic inside art. It's got on one side of the record 2 songs. On the other side of the record, it's got etching. Always a struggle to make the etching visible, but that is actually etched vinyl. Very, very cool. You can kind of see it. And so I got them. If y'all want them. Kevin Fitzgerald from Brooklyn, New York says, quote, "Are they all round?" Well, Kevin Fitzgerald, I haven't looked at every single one of them. I can't vouch for the fact that every single one of them is round. I'm pretty sure that this one is. It's round, right? Yes, this one is definitely round. So if you guys want a round blue 7-inch, hit me up. And while you're at it, don't forget to note the incredible prismatic sticker that comes with it. Just like out of a gumball machine in the late 1970s, only bigger. While you're at it, you should get the Mad Brother Ward package, because we also have the Mad Brother Ward Malcolm Tent Power Duo cassette, which is 60 minutes of soundscapes, created by Mad Brother Ward and myself, with guitars, basses, special effects, distortion pedals, and lots of volume. Numbered edition. This one's number 12. Each one hand-signed by me and Mad Brother Ward. If you haven't got yours yet, this is the perfect opportunity to get yourselves a 1-2 chaotic punch of rock and roll and not rock and roll. Hit me up, and I will hit you back. Callie Hellstrom is right. He says, "Damn, I needs me one." You're right, Callie. From the great state of California. Thanks for tuning in. And we got one more item of mail that I got. This is a mysterious and enigmatic piece of mail that showed up in my mailbox from the great state of Texas. Can't quite read the name. Lindale, Texas, perhaps. Lindale? Is there such a thing as Lindale? Lindale, Texas. A band who I know nothing about. But I like the cover, I like the name. Unless it has some kind of a meaning I don't understand. Blanket of M. A really interesting looking 8-song CD. So Blanket of M. This is going to be checked out by yours truly and listened to probably on my next trip to North Carolina. Because that 13-hour drive means I got a lot of time to listen to stuff in my '08 Subaru, which has a CD player. So thank you, Blanket of M. All right. And then one last item to take care of, checking the calendar. We got some events on the calendar coming up, gang. We got some real cool stuff, y'all. March 31st in Spartanburg, South Carolina, at the Great Club Ground Zero, Anti-Scene and Wednesday 13 are playing. Yes, we, them, Ground Zero, Spartanburg, March 31st. Cancel every plan you've got. Spartanburg, Ground Zero is the place to be, baby. And if you somehow are able to stagger away from that under your own power on 2 feet, the next night at Reggie's in Wilmington, North Carolina, it is the almighty Anti-Scene. The monumental Knowledge is for Fools and our good friends, the Street Clones. That is a 1, 2, 3 power pack punch of rock and roll. 2 nights, 2 great big cultural craters left on the crust of the earth. I feel kind of bad for old Earth, but I feel good about myself because I'm going to be on that stage playing the bass, man. The bass. That's the place. All right. We're up to date now. It is time to really have tent talk tunes. Like we haven't been talking about tunes already. What are you talking about? I have specificity I wish to address. When I was on the air 2 weeks ago, I started telling the stories of some really incredible, mind-blowing gigs that I've attended in my life. And the stories were flowing so fast and free that I wasn't able to get to the last 2 of them. Tonight, I'm going to get to the last 2 mind-bending shows I wanted to talk about. And there's plenty I could go on and on and on about shows that just totally warped me like a pretzel. Or is that twisted me like a potato chip? I forget. Mixed metaphors, you know. Excuse me, but 2 specifically I wanted to talk to. Each one, oddly enough, beginning with the letter K. Now, I want to preface this first story with a little bit of a disclaimer. Nick Sampson, by the way, you're right, Nick Sampson, watching from far, far away, bass is the place. And bass is the place totally relates to what I'm going to talk about now with the first mind-bending show I wish to discuss. I'm not a hip-hop man. I have great respect for the music as an art form. You know, especially as a dude like myself who just loves sound and sonics and taking sounds and messing with them and manipulating them and making new things out of sounds. I love the idea of it. You know, turntablism, fantastic. Building something new out of something old and something completely new and unique and sampling and all that. Rappers. I do not have the ability in this old mind of mine to spiel out lyrics like that. Your average freestyler is coming up with more lyrics in 5 minutes than I can in about 5 weeks. I have great respect for that. It's just not a type of music I like to listen to. It's just not my thing. You know, it's just not my thing. But it's an art form. It's legit. Salute to the hip-hoppers and the rappers. So keeping that in mind, the fact that I went to go see a hip-hop show adds gravitas to this story. Now, one of the great perks of owning a brick-and-mortar record store, which I did for 21 years, I did my time behind the counter. 21 years at Trash American Style. One of the perks of owning a brick-and-mortar record store is that you get to see a lot of free shows. Record companies are always calling you saying, hey, our hot new acquisition is playing near you. Would you like a complimentary pair of tickets? And sometimes it's worth saying yes. Bands will call you and say, hey, man, you want to come down, check out our show, put you on the set list, on the guest list. Sure, why not? Sometimes you can call the label and say, hey, I hear that Black Sabbath is playing the Beacon Theater next week. Can I get on the list? Sometimes they say yes. So a lot of free shows, baby. Lots of free shows. Love me some free shows. Now, my business partner at the time, a woman named Kathy, she liked hip-hop. She really, really liked hip-hop. And one of her favorite artists was Boogie Down Productions. She was a big fan of BDP. And by whatever machinations, I'm pretty sure the label called us, we got free tickets to see BDP. And she'd played me a lot of Boogie Down Productions. I thought it was cool. You know, like I said before, I'm not a hip-hop man, but it was cool. I liked the guy's lyrics a lot. And I appreciated, you know, the sounds they were using and the sampling that was going on. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to go see the show and see how it was done live. because I'd never seen genuine turntablists in action, and I didn't know how they made all these sounds. So I just thought it'd be cool to go and check it out. So on the appointed night, we go down to Toad's Place in New Haven. As Ja is my witness, I've seen dozens of incredible shows at Toad's Place over the years. So go to Toad's Place and walk in, find a spot on the floor, and wait for the show to begin. That's what you do. You go in, you wait for the show. So KRS-One, the show is on, and we're standing there, and we're waiting. And we're waiting. And we're waiting. And then we wait some more. And then we keep waiting. And then, after a while, we waited. And this went on for a long time. And I'll tell you, friends, I've been to some shows in my day where I've had to wait, but this was ridiculous. This was in the day before cell phones, so I wasn't able to look at my cell phone every 2 minutes and say, well, I've been here 2 minutes waiting. Well, I've been here 4 minutes waiting. Well, I've been here 6 minutes waiting. Couldn't do it. No clock in the place, obviously. We were waiting and waiting and waiting to the point where my legs were starting to hurt. My back was starting to hurt. And I'm a fairly healthy dude. I'm in pretty good shape. But you're standing there for it. It's easy to say, well, we stood there for hours. I really do believe we stood there for hours. Really, honestly. My neck was starting to get stiff. A friend of mine who's a big fan of BDP, she was right up front. She had to leave her spot and go back and try to find a place to sit down because she literally couldn't stand it anymore. She couldn't stand anymore. She had to split. And we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And this is New Haven. New Haven is a real city. It's an honest-to-God big city, which means you got a lot of urban types, which means there are some people there who, I'm looking at some of these people and I'm like, wouldn't want to piss them off. What's the deal here? Why are we waiting and waiting and waiting? You could feel the crowd getting edgy. You're just waiting. No announcement. No nothing. I could be wrong, but I don't even remember there being music played over the PA. And I'm sure that if it wasn't anything to write home about. So we're just waiting and waiting, and I'm stiff and I'm sore, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. It was absurd. It was just nuts. And finally, after I don't know how long, out comes the opening act. The opening act finally comes out. And I don't know who it is. They didn't even announce an opening act. There was no opening act advertised. Again, as I remember, I could be wrong about this, but I don't remember any talk of an opening act at this show. So it's like, oh, an opening act? And it was some young kid. I remember this guy. He was young. He was obviously new to the game. And he came out and he tried to do his show. And he got booed off the stage. He got heckled. He was yelled at. He was dissed and dismissed. I don't remember any objects flying through the air. If it had been a heavy metal show, I don't doubt there would have been some bottles and cups and boots and shoes flying through the air at this poor guy. Like when I saw the B-52s open up for The Who at a fucking football stadium in Florida, the B-52s were ducking and dodging, trying to get away from the rain of debris that was threatening to bury them on the stage. Wasn't like that. It was just verbal abuse heaped upon this kid. I think he lasted about a song and a half. Mike Lesser, were you there at that Who concert at the Tangerine Bowl in Orlando? Miserable, wasn't it? Utterly miserable. Anyway, the crowd got the opening act off the stage pronto. And then we waited. And we waited some more. And we waited. And we kept on waiting. And by now, I mean, the tension in the crowd was palpable. You could feel it. People were like getting pissed. You know, they were starting to like yell and catcall and like, you know, start the show. You know, they were really starting to get a little bit wound up. And there were definitely some heavy people there. There's some heavy types there. And we just kept waiting and waiting. And the crowd's getting right on the verge of pissed off. And then without any warning, the lights go off and the show is on. I mean, no warning whatsoever. Lights off, boom! And all of a sudden, right then and there, I got it. People, I got it. If you're one of those people who's ever been driving around or sitting in the privacy of your living room and you hear one of those cars going mad that goes boom, 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 and you think to yourself, why are they doing that? What's the point of that? Why are they driving around with this boom, 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 rattling my windows? You know, why am I stopping at a stoplight next to this guy or gal, usually a guy, and all you hear is the boom, 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 playing from their car so loud that I can't hear my Black Sabbath CD? What is the damn point of that? Well, hearing the hip-hop music of KRS-One played over a full-sized concert PA with those bass bins being pushed so hard that I thought they were going to blow up, with KRS-One doing the live rap and the beatbox going, I got it. I got it. It was like literally awesome. The power of that music coming out of the PA at that volume was breathtaking. All of a sudden, my neck didn't hurt, my back wasn't stiff, my legs weren't cramped. It was like, yeah, KRS-One, I got it. And everybody in the room who like 3 minutes before was ready to storm the stage, they were like, yeah, you know, the show is on. And people were just like, they had erupted. The energy that was released when KRS-One hit the stage was great. It was so cool. I'm not really a dancing fool, but that night I was a dancing fool. I was going up and down and up and down and hanging on his every word. And, you know, it was non-stop show. He had some guy handing him tennis balls all night. He'd autograph a tennis ball, bounce it out into the crowd. They're bouncing autographed tennis balls out into the crowd all night. They might have even been throwing other stuff out into the crowd. I don't remember. I remember the tennis balls very well. The dude was engaging, non-stop, audio, visual. It was just the whole show. And I got it. I totally got it. And it made me realize, you know, like apparently the Rolling Stones would do the same thing. They would go on stage really, really late. I would guess trying to replicate what the great R&B, the rhythm and blues artists probably did in the 50s and 60s. They made the audience wait, got them worked up to a fever pitch, and then hit them with the show. Now, I love the Stones. Anybody who knows me knows I love the Stones. I really do. But I honestly cannot imagine the Stones having the same impact as KRS-One did after making everybody wait for hours for him to hit the stage. I just cannot imagine it being the same. I really can't, especially in a great big, like, arena or stadium versus a nightclub like Toad's Place, where it's like right there. And that sound is literally trying to crush you in a positive way. And after making us wait that long for KRS-One to come out and just do the show like a machine, man, it was great. It was awesome. And so now, ever since that day, which I think was in 1999 or so, I don't begrudge those people for driving around in their cars with the boom, 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 because I get it. I totally get it. I know that they, sitting in that car, are probably just in this giant cocoon of sound that is mighty pleasurable. So, roll on, dudes. You got no complaints from me. I'm fine with it. Just don't stay in front of my house for too long, because I'm trying to play some Ramones. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And as sort of a postscript, after that, I started listening a little more carefully to a lot of the hip-hop that Kathy was into, and I heard some pretty good stuff, you know? I definitely heard some good stuff. Outkast, I thought was really cool. I liked the lyrics, especially of Outkast. Heard some stuff by the Disposable Heroes of Hiphoprisy that I thought was pretty cool. Heard some amazing stuff on WXCI, the college station out of Danbury. There was a guy on Friday nights who would play an hour of nothing but underground, unsigned rap and hip-hop. And I heard some really radical shite on that show. I wish I had taped some of that, because I don't even know who these people were, but I heard some damn good hip-hop on that show. And there's one album that is even better in terms of rap, even better than D.D. King doing Funky Guy. He's a funky. Maybe D.D. King doing Funky Guy was the apotheosis of rap music. But I'm not joking, kids. If there's an album I'm going to carry with me to my grave that sends me to Goosebump City every time I hear it, Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy. Oh my God. That album is an onslaught. I could put that record on right now and get chills. I could do it tomorrow and the day after. Fear of a Black Planet, kids. That's one. I mean, even if you don't like hip-hop or rap that much, just listen to the sonics on that record, the layers and layers of just pure sound and noise and the frantic pace. Those guys just push the beat the whole time on that record. It's to use the word again, it's awesome. Fantastic. And if I can ever find a copy of that on vinyl again, that's going to go in the permanent collection. I'm not parting with it again. I had to sell my copy once. Was that the one I had on vinyl? Pretty sure. They had a couple of vinyl albums. I had to sell them at one point. But if that one crosses my path again, especially in original pressing, I ain't parting with it. Just saying. Grant Den, the original guitar player for Broken Talent, says good call on Fear of a Black Planet. Thank you, Grant Den. Nathan Trusty seconds that emotion. He says, classic. Who am I to disagree? I'm not anybody to disagree. And wouldn't you know it, just like dat, we're out of time. Which means, whoops, I did it again. I was going to tell not one, but two stories of mind-melting shows, and I got so carried away with the storytelling, I only had time for one. So I guess maybe next week or at an indeterminate time in the future, I will have to finally wrap it up and tell the story of the concert that made me go off on this tangent in the first place. I was telling this story to somebody recently, just, hanging out, and they said, you've got to tell that on Tent Talks Tunes. And I said, you're right. So here we are, we're 2 weeks in, and I still haven't told that particular story. So We're going to do it. Mike Lester says, work on the wide angle. We missed the swag posters. Yes, Mike, I'm going to figure it out. I've only had this phone for a couple of weeks, and I've only tried to broadcast twice, so I'll be working on it. I like the wide angle myself. I don't like being boxed in like this. I'm not a man who's defined by his limits. I want to push the envelope. So friendly reminders, or if you wish, hostile reminders. I got the Mad Brother Ward 7-inch. I have a very small number of them. If you want them, get them directly from me. I've also got the Mad Brother Ward Malcolm Tent Power Duo cassette, limited, signed, numbered. Get them both. Get yourselves a Mad Brother Ward Power Pack. And help keep me off the streets and help Harry the Cat stay plump. He is, as usual, asleep on the sofa. Here I am entertaining millions of people across the planet, and he's just sleeping right through it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna thank you all for tuning in and allowing me to yammer at you for an hour every week. It's definitely a pleasure. Really enjoy it. Happy to do it. Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, if I have my druthers, I will be back in about 167 hours' time. So until we meet again, this is Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Nutmeg State.